Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm playing all of the new chess.com Earth Day bots, from the 400 rated dodo to the 2000 rated mammoth. My goal is to defeat all 5 bots. Let's get started with game number 1. Alright, start with the dodo rated 400, Diana the dodo. From Madagascar we get knight to c6. I will play a normal game, despite the fact that here d5, probably the dodo would hang the knight right away. We get f5, which is kind of interesting. The name's Diana and I'm from, I don't know how to pronounce that, Mauritius? The only place my species lived. Oh cool, we get dodo facts. This will be like National Geographic on chess.com. I don't mind that at all. Alright, who introduced a horse to my habitat? This is how my species became endangered. I wonder if that's actually true. One reason I went extinct is because I never learned to fear humans. I'm not about to start now. Whoa, crazy trash talk out of nowhere, out of left field from the dodo bird. Knight to b4 doesn't seem to threaten anything. I mean, I could boot the knight, but truth be told, if it's not threatening anything, there's nothing to be afraid of. Who's threatened now? You. Give me the pawn. And let's threaten the rook at the same time. Rook does shuffle out of the way. Let's play bishop to e2. Look to just castle when we're done developing. Well, I guess we're not going to castle right away. That's a free knight. Anything to say about your free knight, Mr. Dodo? Or rather, Miss Dodo? We get bishop to b4, squawk, or maybe chirp. Jury's out on what I sounded like. Yeah, that's kind of interesting, because I guess if they didn't have any fossilized organs, they wouldn't be able to figure out how they actually spoke. We get bishop to b4. I guess I'll just castle. I mean, I'm up a knight. You can run, but you can't hide. I bet I could run faster than Dodo. We get king to f8. Let's just boot the bishop, look for b4, d5, e4. Okay, free bishop, why not? Oh no. We get d4. Let's go ahead and hit the knight. Running away, but I'm just a friendly dodo. We get knight to f7. Retreat. The dodo population, me, can't afford to go out like that. That's kind of funny. Okay, let's play e4. Go ahead and just break open the center. Nice move. Color this dodo impressed. I'm glad the dodo likes my moves. Let's go ahead and, if I capture, takes back, opens up a semi-open file. And truth is, this dodo would have no idea what to do with that, but there's no need. So let's play d5 first with the idea of e5 next. This isn't looking too good for the old dodo. We'll go ahead and trade on e5, sure. Anything to open up the position and start looking for trades since we are at material. Can you use your knight as a gizzard stone? We get c5. Free exchange, thank you. Okay, queen takes back. Let's go ahead and just close this up. This leaves a backwards pawn. We say backwards because the pawn can't step past without getting en passanted. Anyways, bishop to e6, free bishop. Queen takes, awesome queen sacrifice. I wish my piece could have flown away from that. Speaking of inaccuracies, technically it wasn't humans that hunted me to extinction. It was all the animals they brought, like pigs and cats. Well, that's kind of interesting, the more you know. All right, let's go ahead and line up this rook, look for the pawn push. Rook to g7, knight d5, supporting the pawn push again. Rook to b7, check. Have you been attacking other animal bots like that? Not yet, but that's the plan. We'll go ahead and take on e7. And then we can probably just wrap this up with, oh, nice. Well, there's the en passant I was talking about. Cool. We'll get a little promotion checkmate here because why not? Should we promote to a queen or a rook? Obviously a rook for style points. And we do win with ladders, mate, pawn promotion, checkmate. Let's go ahead and move on to game number 2. All right, the next highest rated bot is Tim the Turtle. Playing chess with flippers is not easy. I feel your pain, Tim. From Mexico. Okay, we get b3. Let's go and play knight to f6. This should also be a pretty standard game. I mean, this is why people say you really shouldn't practice chess with bots, is because a human might just play a normal game and then play fairly reasonable for the rest of the game, but a bot you can count on to make silly moves like this, knight to e5. So I just have to play a normal game until the bot eventually like sacks a piece or something, or plays so ridiculous that it walks itself into a terrible position, and I can eventually win. All right, bishop takes, we take back with the queen, hitting the rook. Knight to c3, probably the most natural defense, but instead the bot plays c3, queen to g6, putting pressure on d3. Knight to f4, we take to double the pawns. We will wrap up our development, and really I can castle either way here, but assuming the bot will castle kingside, I will elect to castle queenside with the idea of e5, busting open the center and going for the victory. Here's another good example. g4, probably not a very human move. Human probably would have played bishop to e2, maybe blundering g2, but g4 is just so obviously free. We'll take it, has 2 attackers, only 1 defender, so it's a free pawn. f3, we'll just head back. Kingside in shambles. We get pawn to a4, e5 to open up the file looking at the king. I just realized I haven't been reading anything Tim has been saying. Oh, I just cut him off again. Hold on. All right, knight to a3. Tim, anything to say? Have you ever seen horses running on a beach? It's majestic. All right, Tim is maybe a little bit cuckoo in the head. We get long castles. Sea turtles have existed for 100 million plus years. We've even survived the extinction of dinosaurs 65 million years ago. Look at you, Tiny Tim. Resilient as ever. Oh no, not my queen. Will you keep her in a treasure chest? Nah, I'll keep her on the side of the board. Sea turtles can live up to 50 years. Interesting. Rook to e1. We are at material. Oh, actually, bishop d3 doesn't work here because of this discovered attack. But point stands, we should be looking for trades. So maybe bishop d3 now, or knight to d3 potentially. d4, pretty aggressive. It does lose a pawn, but it's really not a big deal. Let's play knight to c4. Bishop takes. Let's take on e1, then take on c4. And basically, we have a queen for a rook, which should be just completely winning. Let's play... bishop b1 is very tempting because it has checkmate on c2. Problem is, if we play this, rook here is check. I can't play king to d7 because of this fork, which loses the queen after check to the king. And if king to c7, check, king back. I mean, it should be winnable, so let's give it a try. Bishop to b1. Maybe knight to a3 here is enough to defend the mate. Oh, nice. Knight to a3 is actually what the bot plays. That's probably the best move. Sea turtles begin their lives as itty-bitty hatchlings on land. Well, interesting. Didn't expect to get schooled on sea turtle history, but here we are. Oh, I've just noticed he's holding a tiny rook. Look at him. He's holding a teeny tiny rook. That is so adorable. That's the cutest thing ever. Let's go ahead and hit the rook with the bishop. Rook to d2. I'm doing a terrible job of converting this. I'm playing this almost impressively slow. Let's play check, drop the bishop back. Okay, let's drop the bishop back to g6 since it's hanging now. Knight to c2. Trades, always happy to see those. And since we're converting this slowly anyways, might as well just push g5, g4, get a passed pawn going. The oceans hold more historical artifacts than all the museums in the world combined. Huh, it's kind of cool. Isn't it the case that we actually haven't explored like 90+% of the ocean? Get d5, let's just keep pushing our pawns, nothing to worry about over here. Sure, a5, let's just push. Looking for g1 for promotion. Rook to d2, we'll block it by pushing the pawn. And we're put in check, we'll take with the king to get out of both. b5, another free pawn, thank you. Check again, let me hit the rook. For rook d4, I just take on c3. Now it's almost checkmate. Rook goes back to d1, promote to the queen. The rook takes, I take back with mate. But these bots are programmed to never fall for mate in one. So we will take with our second ladder's mate to win game number 2. Let's go ahead and move on to game number 3. All right, next game is against Ronda the Rhino. Hello from the savannah. Hello, Ronda. This is taking me back not only to Nat Geo, but also to Wildcrats, which I used to watch obsessively as a kid. It's a shame that I don't remember any of the facts that I learned, but boy, did I have a fun time learning it. Knight to d5. Rhinos can run up to 40 miles per hour. If I gain momentum, there's no stopping me. I believe you. I wouldn't want to get in the way of whatever a rhino weighs anyways. A group of rhinos is called a crash. What's a group of pawn called? An island. We'll take on b5. Really, you're taking a rhino's piece? Oh, king to e7. Wow, not even the turtle played this interestingly, we'll call it. Let's go ahead and offer a trade to open up the center. Oh my gosh. Oh, wow, are these ratings mixed up or something? Okay, let's go ahead and take on e3, free piece. Thank you. Bishop to b7, we'll block with the knight. d5, just drop the bishop back. Should probably give these bots a chance to speak. The song Rhinoceros is from the 1991 Smashing Pumpkins album Gish. Thoughts? Wasn't around back then, wouldn't know. Castle short, line up the rook on the semi-open file. F5, let's play c4. We're going to break open the center one way or another because there's a king just hanging around waiting to be attacked. Depending on my specific species and habitat, I'm sure getting hungry for grass, leaves, shoots, twigs, fruits, berries, and or buds. Okay, let's go ahead and take on d5. Nice, we do get a trade, which is totally good since we are out material. Queen takes, target the queen by developing a piece. e4 is probably up next. Then d5, then just line up the rooks and steamroll the king for hanging around in the center of the board. King tries to move back. Let's play rook to c1 with the idea of rook takes c7, coordinated with the bishop. Nice, we do get that capture. Knight to d7. Let's play, I guess just d5 is good. d5, take with the queen. There should be some mating threats. Okay, rook to d8. I will take a free pawn, hit the knight. Bishop develops, I take with check. I mean, the king can't castle. It's already moved to the center. So king to f7, we play check again. King to g6. Let's bring more pieces. Rook to c6, check. Covers f7. The king either moves forward or the bishop blocks. Nice. We will take with the knight. And if the queen takes, oh, okay, the pawn takes. So we'll play knight check. Discovered attack on the pawn, bringing everybody to the party. and we should be wrapping this up in just a moment. Let's go ahead and take on f6. We do get the queen sacrifice, we'll take back. If the king takes, this should be forced mate. Question is, how is this forced mate? Start with this check. King moves back, bishop to e5 with the idea of check and potentially mate. If I play check and king moves over, then mate on e6. Nice, and with that, we win game number 3. And I'm wondering if this rhino's rating is perhaps a little bit inflated. Let's go ahead and move on to game number 4. All right, our next game is against Sunny the Snow Leopard, I'm guessing? Sunny the Snow Leopard. I know, I'm adorable. Don't be fooled. You are adorable. Let's play c6, looking for d5, knight to f6, and crush this adorable tiger. Or leopard? What did I just call it? Anyways, d5. We get f3. Oh, interesting. Let's go ahead and take, knight to f6. We'll just play this kind of passively, I guess. Oh, we're going for the actual sacrifice. Okay, knight takes. Spots a yak, don't get distracted. Knight to f6, we'll play bishop to g4. Your knight is moving towards my territory. It's just development, don't worry too much about it. Bishop to g4, we'll pin the knight. Bishop to e3, play e6. I mean, I'm happy because we're just developing. Okay, h3, question is, do I play capturing on f3 or do I move the bishop back and then bishop here? Getting some good scope on the queen side, and I think I like that better, so we'll move the bishop back. And did it just say it hacked up a hairball? Yow, chatters with excitement. Okay, g4, let's play the bishop back to g3. We do get long castles. There are some very interesting aggressive ideas here. Let's start with bishop to e7 to have castling basically at the ready. We'll play knight to d5, but potentially we can play knight to a6. I've taken with this pawn to open up the semi-open file, hitting c2. Bishop to f4 doesn't create any new threats. And actually now I can just play knight to c6 with normal development. a6 is just unnecessary. Queen to b5 targets this. By all means, my opponent can take all of my pawns. That is not an issue. Cool, take my pawns, and I will start my queenside attack. The reason I say that my opponent can take all of my pawns is because it opens up many more lines against the king, which I'm always happy to see. Okay, interesting. Let's calculate here. If I take on a2, king moves out of the way. Knight c3 is very interesting takes, but this doesn't actually work because the bishop covers that square. So it begs the question, can I do something about it first? Takes, and I mean, I guess it works, but it allows a3 really unnecessarily. So let's take on a2 with check. King b1, I just move the knight back. We keep everything on the board. We've won back the pawn, and potentially we can sacrifice here. Okay, queen to c7. Opponent trying to get a queen trade, which makes a lot of sense. When you're under attack, you want queen trades. And since we are not under attack, we will just shuffle out of the way. Preparing rook to c8, more pressure on c2. That looks pretty good for us. Okay, queen to a5. Moves the queen out of the line of the rook that might move to c8, but doesn't actually create any new threats. So, rook to c8, continuing with our idea. Bishop to c7 is definitely one way to defend the pawn, but you usually don't want to pin your own pieces when you're trying to defend something, because then I just put more pressure on that piece, and you either lose the piece or you lose the other piece that you were trying to defend originally. Okay, here do we take with the knight or do we take with the bishop? Almost certainly we won't take with the rook because we don't want to trade off pieces while we are the ones attacking. If we take with the bishop, king can't really move into the line. Well, actually it can, because I don't really have any discovered threats. So if I take with the bishop, basically I'm just looking to take the rook. If I take with the knight, I'm looking for discovered attacks, both with the bishop and potentially with the rook if the king moves into the line of sight of the rook. But I think it makes most sense here to just take our material. We'll take on c2, looking for that free rook. Okay, we do get the rook sack. Let's go ahead and take now with the rook. There is the idea of the queen sacrifice, which could be kind of interesting, but we get the more likely option, which is just hitting the rook with another piece. Let's take on d3. If the opponent takes the rook, then I win the other bishop, and 2 bishops for a rook is almost always better for the person that got the 2 bishops. We get the recapture with the rook. Our snow leopard, it's a leopard, that's what it is. Our snow leopard says, now's your chance to go back to the cave you crawled out from. Well, that was rude. And just for that, we'll double the rooks and see if we can wrap this up with checkmate. Knight to e5. Oh, I actually can't play check because of the bishop. Well, that was a crummy plan. Let's play queen to b7, looking for a pretty obvious mate on b2. Queen moves back to defend it. You keep moving the queen around, I'm going to try to get it. Good luck with that. Let's play maybe just rook to f2. I mean, it looks fine. Looks for rook to f1, which is a pretty big problem of a check. Our opponent says you're very brave. We get rook to f3. Am I happy here to trade pieces? I mean, I'm still up the exchange, but I could have such a convincing lead, and I don't. All right, we'll try to stay humble. We will take the rook trade. Followed up with queen to c6 with ideas of queen to c2 check. We do get b3, defending c2 with the queen. Queen to c3, hits the pawn, hits the knight, hits the pawn behind it. Knight moves out of the way. Let's take on d4, hitting the bishop, destabilizing the knight. Queen to a6 hits the rook, check. The bishop can always block, so in theory I could take. Takes, bishop moves back, and I really didn't do anything but equalize for my opponent, which it really never makes any sense. So let's just play rook to f8. I mean, I know it looks really ugly, but let's just play rook to f8. The rook can always come back when it gets the chance. Knight back to d3. Let's play h6. I want to remove this pawn so I can move my bishop onto the long diagonal and actually have it creating some threats, because right now it's just hanging around doing nothing. Take back, we do lose this pawn, but it's really not the biggest deal in the world. Oh wow, bishop to e5 is super principled. Understands the importance of the long diagonal and takes it. So let's play check. So as to win back a tempo, king moves out of the way. Let's play queen back with the idea of bishop to f6. The only last issue we might have is potentially a passed pawn if my opponent takes on a7. But right now my opponent can't play that because I take the knight. But after I offer this exchange, takes, I no longer have eyes on the knight. Queen can just take. Should still be winning just because my king is safer than my opponent's. I have a rook, my opponent has a knight. I still have extra pawns. But it could get a little bit interesting. Let's play bishop to f6, offer the trade. Knight to f4. Okay, let's dive in and put more pressure on the opponent's position. Pins the bishop. Now we are absolutely threatening checkmate. Oh, and we can trade off into a completely winning endgame. Nice. Okay, this should be a comfortable win. My queen, this isn't happening. I'm headbutting your queen to leave scent glands on her. Okay, well, I'm not sure how I feel about that. Let's play king to g7. Even though we are up a rook to a knight, an active king is always a better king. So rook to b8. King moves out of the line of sight of the rook, so there's no funny business with a5, winning the pawn. Let's play king to f6, bring him all the way up. And he's basically just going to support the pawns as they push. King to a4, sure, we'll push e5. There's no reason for me to hang any pawns here, so I will be careful not to. Push e4. You know how knights are with their forks and all. Like here, d4, knight to c6. I either lose the rook or I lose the pawn. I can't even defend it because the knight covers that square as well. So let's, oh, king to e5 loses the rook. Ugh, tricky business. Okay. Actually, there's an interesting idea here. d4, knight c6. Sack the rook, king takes, d3. And I don't believe there's any way for my opponent to stop both of these pawns with only a knight. So d4, let's see if we get knight to c6. Let's sack. Oh, there's this check. Oh no, I didn't see that. Oh, that's a crazy intermediate move. I thrive in treacherous conditions. You are doing an excellent job at making me pay for my hubris. Oh, I take it back. That is definitely not the way to have played that. Knight to c6, we'll move the king over again, force this recapture, right? And now e3, knight here, e2, knight there, f5, king moves up, f4, king moves up, f3, king moves up. Man, and I don't actually make it in time. Okay, let's play e3 first. Knight b4 is check, king to d4, just looking to help the pawn move forward. Okay, opponent not playing the endgame particularly well. Nice, we just march all the way up, or do I play here now? I guess I should play back, because now I'm covering both of these squares. There's no way for the knight to stop this pawn anymore. Sure, check, or not check, rather, just capturing a pawn. We promote. Surely there's a way for us to give check and win the knight. Let's first play check and defend the pawn. King to b5, check again. King to a4, the only move that doesn't allow a check that wins the knight, but we will insist. King back to b5, check again. We're trying to very much force the issue here. Finally, we get check and win the knight. Nice, opponent doesn't even take the pawn, sweet. Let's go ahead and take on h3. Nice, king moves out of the way. Let's play check to invite the capture. Ooh, king to a4, interesting. Let's walk the king over. Wow, why is my opponent dodging the pawn? Please take my pawn. Okay, let's just give check. Oh, opponent walks away, sure. If my opponent's going to allow it, then I have to promote to a second queen. Nice, now we just cut off the king, and we can even pre-move our checkmate. And with that, we win game number 4. Let's go to move on to game number 5. All right, our last game is against a 2000 rated mammoth named Wallace. It's kind of interesting because I believe this is the weakest bot out of these most recent series because it's only rated 2000. I haven't been around since the Ice Age. What have I missed? Can you fill me in? You've missed a lot of theory, Wallace. Somebody's got to tell Wallace about stockfish. C5, never mind. Wallace already knows about stockfish, clearly. All right, queen to b6. Normally I'm a gentle giant, but I like to attack that piece. I wonder why this bot is only rated 2000, or why there's not another Earth Day bot that's rated like 3500 or something insane. It might be because of the addition of the blindfolded Hikaru bot that I saw, which is pretty cool. It's listed under insane under the bots. And I do plan on playing that bot soon because I also love playing blindfolded chess. But anyways, for now, we just play a 2000 rated bot. We get queen to b6. I always like to play knight to a3 to invite queen takes with the idea of knight to b5, threatening knight c7 with the fork, and more seriously threatening rook to b1. Okay, and actually, I've just realized I've played knight to a3 because it's what I always play. But when I say I always play it, it's because I'm playing against other players of about my rating level. And I usually like to punish queen to b6. It's easily the most annoying, easily the most annoying variation to play when you're playing the London system because it targets b2. And where's the defender of b2? Oh, it's developed on f4. That doesn't sound so bad. But also you get e3. So there's no way for that bishop to ever defend b2 again. You either defend it with your queen, and then you have an entire queen defending one single pawn. That queen will never see the light of day or a kingside attack or anything else. Or you play something like b3 and undermine your entire pawn structure. Now the issue is, I've now played this with a 2000 rated bot, who will certainly play queen b2, queen a2, queen b2, queen a2, and this is just a draw. All right, rook to b1 would finish the game off in a draw. The other variation here, which is feasible, but it's really not ideal, is to sack the rook for the knight on a6. Idea being, opponent takes back. This knight was supposed to defend c7, but now it's off the board. You play knight to c7 check. King can no longer castle. You win back the rook. Now, the issue with this is you win a piece, but you lose a bunch of pawns on the queen side, and this knight may not be recoverable, so you may not have really won a piece at all, and you are super underdeveloped. Question is, do I want to take that risk against a 2000 rated bot, or do I want to just secure the draw? I'll give you guys a moment to read the name of the channel. All right, let's go ahead and take on a6 and look for this fork. Check. With any luck, we can scrounge up a victory. Let's take on a8. I don't actually know what the engine would assess this as. We get queen takes c3, which is immediately the most annoying move. If queen d2, there's check, queen back, and that could also lead to a draw, but we'll give it a try. Okay, pawn takes, which does give me the opportunity to take back or to take the queen. If I take the queen, I lose an extra pawn, but I take a bunch of queens off the board. So potentially I can just leave my king in the center, come bother this pawn, come bother these doubled pawns, and maybe make use of this sacrifice. Let's see, if I take with the other pawn, queen check, queen back, queen c3. Let's go ahead and trade. I'm going to trade the queens, and I know it's a little bit of a desperate move because I've lost now an extra pawn on top of all the other pawns that I've lost, but I think it's worth it. Let's go ahead and continue development with knight to f3. c2, aiming for promotion, I guess, in general. Oh, interesting. If I play king to d2, there's check. I take the pawn, knight takes f2, rook moves out of the way, knight retreats. That honestly doesn't look so bad. Maybe we'll get bishop to f5, play bishop to d3, which now develops the rook to stop the promotion. Knight to e4. Okay, we'll go ahead and trade. Bishop takes back. Knight to g5 seems to hit the bishop and threaten this fork on f7, but the bishop can just drop back to g6, defend itself, obviously, and then also defend the pawn. So for a moment, let's ignore what's going on here and take a sec to save the knight, since this whole plan is based off the fact that we are quote-unquote up a piece. Let's go ahead and take on a6. e6 cuts off a lot of the retreat squares for this knight, which is quite terrifying. Let's play knight to e5, see how the king decides to defend the pawn. Oh, we get bishop takes. Rook to g1, hit the bishop, still hit the pawn. Queen promotion? What is happening? Oh, I guess the idea is if I take with the king... Wait, what is the idea here? Check, I move out of the way. Actually, I'd have to move back to d2. Because if I'm on a light square, then I get checked by this bishop and it's no longer in danger. But besides that, bishop is still under attack, fork is still on the board. So I'll go ahead and take. Check, I move back to d2. Precise play, no more checks because the knight takes. Free piece by a 2000 rated bot, hello? Oh my goodness, this bot is not hanging in there too well. Okay, I suppose I should take here. King moves out of the way, I take the rook, takes. It's just a bishop against 3 other pieces. That should be completely and utterly winning. Nice, we take on h8. I guess the risk was worth it. Woolly mammoths aren't exactly known for their comebacks, but I think I still have a shot here. Man, if this woolly mammoth makes a comeback in this position, nothing but respect. Rook to a1. We're going to go ahead and defend this knight with the bishop. Oh my goodness, have I just hung a bishop? Oh my goodness. Too busy talking smack. This is what happens, people. Too busy talking smack, and then you get destroyed. Okay, let's go ahead and take back. I mean, it's nothing to gripe over. We're still completely winning, but holy smokes, that was unnecessary. Bishop moves back. Let's go ahead and just centralize the king, I guess. King over, knight to c6, looking to centralize the knight as well. Very nice, knight to e5. Bishop moves out of the way. I guess just rook to a7 with the idea of mate. We get the bishop sack, we'll go ahead and take, and this should be forced now. Check, sure, I will take that as well. Maybe king here. h5, and we do defeat Wallace the Mammoth and win game number 5. All right, with that, for the first time ever on this channel, although to be fair, we've only been around for four-ish months, but for the first time ever on this channel, we've actually defeated every single one of the monthly bots. If you guys did enjoy this video, please consider liking and subscribing. Let me know down below what you guys thought of the monthly bots, how you guys fare against them, and what do you guys think about the fact that the highest rated bot is only 2,000. I will see you guys in the next one.